For recruitment, do some special operations as requested and so forth.
So tell me a little bit about, I mean, we can't tell the spycraft, but how did Moscow communicate with you?
It was two-way communication. It was I received radiograms via Morse code, and it was all encrypted. And I wrote back with letters in secret writing. It was very awkward and lengthy, but there was never any direct contact on the soil of the United States.
So all dead drops.
It was all dead drops. This is when you hand over material that you.
The earliest recorded account of a number station dates back to World War I, but to this date, only a handful of governments have merely hinted at verifying their existence, an ironic backdrop considering those same governments have used the utilization of the number station as evidence in their courts to convict many special agents of espionage in their countries. At this point in time, it has become accepted knowledge that these number stations are used by various governments to carry out clandestine intelligence gathering operations with their respective spies operating in foreign countries. The closest any government has come to acknowledging their existence was in a careful statement by a British spokesperson in 1998. Quote, "These are what you suppose they are. People shouldn't be mystified by them. They're not, shall we say, for public consumption."
Five, 2, 6, 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 7, 4, 4, 4, 0, 5.
Number stations transmit on frequencies from approximately 3 to 30 megahertz and can be received by a civilian shortwave radio. This is significant since possession of a store-bought radio is nothing out of the ordinary and would not require an elaborate explanation should an operative be detained for any reason. Shortwave transmissions also make use of a phenomena called skywave, or sometimes affectionately called skip, by radio enthusiasts alike. Shortwave's particular frequency range renders it very interactive with the Earth's charged portion of its upper atmosphere, called the ionosphere. Shortwave transmissions are able to bounce or refract between the ionosphere and ground, much like a stone skipping along water. Because of the interaction with the ionosphere, the propagations are subject to adverse effects caused by solar weather, but in ideal conditions, a shortwave transmission from a decently powered transmitter can be heard at any position on the globe. In addition to a seemingly unlimited range, a convenient side effect of the skywave propagation phenomena is that it renders the geolocation of the transmitter difficult to locate by radio direction finding. Of course, unless caught in the act of listening to a transmission and decoding with a one-time pad, the location of a secret agent is impossible to determine.
三拐洞，三拐洞，三拐洞，138呼叫，138呼叫，138呼叫，不是，三拐洞，三拐洞，三拐洞，138呼叫，138呼叫。
Typically, number stations tend to follow a predictable transmission schedule, as agents need to structure their clandestine operations in the field around these periodic transmissions. In a dramatic battle for the airwaves, there have been instances where intelligence services on opposing sides have tried to overpower particular transmissions with nonsensical oscillations in times of geopolitical tensions. The following example captures this tantalizing drama between nations playing out over the airwaves. Number stations are sometimes identified by a type of header, which typically manifests itself as a curious melody played at regular intervals through the hour. Some stations use a tune to indicate this, such as the popular number station coined the Lincolnshire Poacher, heard here.
Three 9 7 1 5. 3 9 7 1 5. 3 9 7 1 5.
And another example is taken from a recording of the number station nicknamed Swedish Rhapsody. It is theorized that these melodies can help an operative positively identify their intended transmission. After the header, the broadcast will commence the reading of a string of numbers in either the native spoken language of the operative or will transmit the numbers in Morse code. It is the particular way in which the numbers are interpreted by the agent that really exemplifies the clandestine strength of the seemingly archaic and humble number station. Once the agent has copied down the numbers, which are completely unintelligible to man or machine, a simple mathematical cipher is used to decode the numbers into characters of the alphabet, revealing the particular message intended. This cipher is a crucial aspect of the number station and is called the one-time pad. Perhaps the most significant proof of the purpose of the number station is from Jack Barsky, an ex-KBG agent, who is now a fully reformed American. He has written a book called Deep Undercover, chronicling his life as a secret agent, and here he explains how the one-time pad works.
Now, you're one of the only people I know who actually used a one-time pad. We've probably lectured about it. I don't know anybody. Maybe you guys have used one. You've used one, right? Like, tell us how you were. And you were also using this very interesting means for writing notes back.
Right.
Tell us how that works. And it probably helped to be a chemist to do that, right?
Anyway, the one-time pad.
Serendipity, right?
Yeah. Right.
So how did that work?
Well, first of all, initially I was trained to use a manual to come up. See, the encryption of the messages was double. First, you translate your letters into digits, and it seems to be an international standard. Oh, I'm serious. Everywhere you look, there are groups of five. Groups of five. Who came up with that?
ISO. Paul did.
So you translate the letters into numbers, and then you have a separate algorithm, which I figured out after a while. This is a way to randomize things and make sure that whatever set of numbers, digits you come out with, there's an equal number of 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and so forth. And for the first 8 years I used that. So then you do some math, you either add or subtract, and eventually you come up with a message. Those algorithms, I was told, were good for about 300 uses. And eventually there was not enough time to teach me another one, so they gave me the one-time pads. They were about the size of this, maybe half, all right? And it was a regular little notepad, and I had to, I think it may have been like this, develop that with iodine solution, and so the groups of 5 came up. And they had every transmission, and I got the digits through shortwave Morse code. What they used was identical to what I had, and then you throw it away next time you use it. According to the folks that I've had interaction with in the FBI as well as in the IT community, that is unbreakable as long as you use it only once.
Yeah, and don't lose the pad.
But then it doesn't work.
Well, that's a big deal.
The one-time pad is exactly that. It only works to decode a particular set of numbers on a particular day, and then is useless. Once the cipher has been used, it can be burned, shredded, or in some case, if printed on rice paper, eaten. A one-time pad can be very small and hidden in various household items, or carried by an operative in an article of clothing through the day, such as a hollow shoe heel. In a tweet by the Canadian intelligence agency CSIS, a picture of a toy truck shows the method for which Václav Jelinek used to hide a one-time pad. Jelinek was caught red-handed in London using a shortwave radio and a one-time pad to decode messages. In this case, the one-time pad was concealed under the toy truck's hood. Also confiscated from Jelinek and subsequently used as evidence against him was a microdot reader, as well as various other one-time pads hidden in bars of soap throughout his apartment. It is important to recognize that, although the number stations are perceived as an interesting curiosity for radio enthusiasts, for the agents and governments using them, there are real dangers and consequences with respect to the sensitive nature of the information being transmitted. It is more than likely that a number station has given, or will give in the future, instructions that will shape the very world we know. The secrecy involved with these transmissions is of the utmost importance, as well as the equipment used to generate them. As the 20th and 21st century has progressed, various new governments have emerged, and just as many have been dismantled. It is theorized that the fall of the Berlin Wall created a situation whereby citizens were able to procure some of the equipment used in voice synthesis of the number stations. In an almost unbelievable series of YouTube videos, radio enthusiast Peter Stahl not only displays the equipment, but even demonstrates the functionality of the voice generator used in number stations across the globe. According to Stahl, the equipment belongs to an anonymous private collector that apparently has multiple units in his possession. Exactly how these units were obtained is understandably a complete mystery.
7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 2, 9, 6, 9.
Clear, execute. Now the memory is cleared. Input, tape reader, yes.
In our ultra-modern world, saturated with high-bandwidth digital communications, satellite, internet, and cell phones bouncing signals between a plethora of towers, the question is why would a government with all the tools of encrypted digital communication at their disposal, still utilize a 100-year-old technology? The answer is simple. Anytime you use a piece of electronic equipment that is connected to any type of network, no matter how secure the encryption might be, you will leave some kind of forensic digital footprint. It can be traced. Even in this day and age, this seemingly archaic idea of a number station reading out groups of numbers over shortwave radio is still the most secure and trusted method for communication behind enemy lines.